Hi, everyone. Welcome to Financial Insights. I'm Linda, your accounting coach. Today, I want to talk about setting up your accounting software. As I said in the previous video, it's so easy to set up QuickBooks, Zero, get connected with them. However, there's some work that actually needs to be put into setting everything up correctly. So, if you're working with an accounting professional or you're doing it yourself, you're going to have to gather some information. So, I created a checklist for you and I want to share that with you today. So, I'm going to share my screen if I can, and we are going to go over to the checklist. And if you're working with a professional, they'll have their own checklist. But if you're setting this accounting software up for yourself, this you can use this as a guide. So when you're setting up your accounting software under the company settings and then entering your chart of accounts, they're going to ask you for a variety of information. So number one, company name, address, phone number, email address. And with the email address, you want to make sure it's an email that you're going to keep and that you're going to utilize. This goes into number two. You need to decide who will be listed on your account as the contact. Whether that's a QuickBooks account, whether that's a Zero account, who is going to be the main contact? And you want to make sure that if you're the owner, that you know who is the main contact. So just in case you part ways, you can actually get that account changed over to the correct person going forward. You also need to know your business structure. Um, to my surprise, when I started my business, I was shocked that many business owners do not know their structure. So you need to know your structure. Are you a C corp, S corp, LLC, whatever the case may be, a DBA? You also need your tax ID number. Also, decide if you're going to be cash based or accrual based accounting. So, won't go into too much detail in that, but most small businesses usually operate cash basis throughout the year, and then accrual base, they have their professional do some entries at the end of the year. So, cash basis basically means a cash is exchanged when the service happens or product is sold. You need bank account numbers and you need bank statements because you're going to have to enter the beginning balance. So you need to have your bank statements and bank account numbers. And I always, and you may say, well, why do I need bank account numbers? What I like to do, if you have multiple bank accounts, so for instance, if you have a Chase checking and a Chase savings, you should title your account Chase Savings and then put the last four digits of that account or something to identify that account, because I've seen some small businesses, they have multiple business accounts, and when that owner needs to code or that bookkeeper needs to code something, they don't know what account to use. So you want to make sure you use some type of identifier. You also need your credit card accounts and your credit card statements handy. Previous tax forms, federal, state, local, sales, payroll, all of them. Tax all tax account numbers, the sales, the food and beverage, self employment tax. Now, number nine, you may not need this, the state and local tax percentages, because most accounting software, they're linked up to the state's entity now. You may not need that. Number 10, chart of account. So you need to have accounts that you know that you need to use. Now, most accounting software will come with a chart of accounts for you. However, you need to fit that chart of accounts for your business. So you need to review that chart of accounts and see what needs to be added or changed. Also, you need to have handy the logo for your company so you can place that on invoices and statements. You also need to know the payment terms for your customers because that needs to be entered in accounting software. Also, what needs to be entered is the existing customers' names, address, phone numbers, and emails. So, this is where you can utilize your accounting system to your benefit. So, if you're struggling finding customer information and you don't have a CRM right now, go ahead and use your accounting software. So put as much information you can in your accounting software. And I know for QuickBooks, you can attach proposals, you can put notes in there. So there's a lot of things you can do. The same thing for existing vendors. Put all their contact info in that accounting software. So make sure you have all of that handy so you can also information you want on the invoices. Add your address, who to contact, email address, maybe a thank you message, whatever the case may be. Also, number 16, list of products and services you're going to sell. The products and services, this is very important because this is how your financial statements it's part of the reason how your financial statements are going to be created. So you need to have a list of products and services. You're going to take that list and enter it into your accounting software. And then you need to point that product and service to the correct revenue account. So for instance, I'm going to use Chick-fil-A. So if the product is chicken sandwich, you may have a revenue account called lunch revenue. And so that product needs to be directed towards that specific revenue account. So very important you understand what's going to be sold. Also, list of equipment and inventory that the business owns. And even if you're leasing or renting, have all of that listed and a vendor. Some other information that you should be aware of. Number 19, 1099s. Put all of your 1099s in your accounting software. If you're using QuickBooks, QuickBooks has made it easy for you. Once you put your 1099 in as a vendor, click that check mark that says 1099, put their tax ID number in there. That will allow you to simply report that at the end of the year. But that checkbox has to be checked it has to be checked. So you can run a report to say, okay, here's all of my 1099s for the year, and this is how much I pay them. But that once again, that checkbox has to be checked. You want your payroll information. You want your payroll company name and number and email handy so you can put that in your accounting software. Third-party merchant information. You want to write down what merchants you're going to use because you may want to connect that to your accounting software. You need to get all of your loan agreements and statements, inventory balances, and then lastly, the list of users who will have access to your accounting software. So as you can see, there's a lot of work into getting your accounting software set up. Depending on your organization, it may be more involved, it may be less, it may not even take you that long. But gather this information, and it's always good to have this information handy anyway. I suggest you take a Word document and start putting this information in. Once you have it in your accounting software, this Word document can be your backup. You can even attach it to your accounting software. So I'm going to stop unsharing. And as I stated before, there's so much work that needs to go into setting up an accounting software. I suggest you get a professional to help you. It will pay in the long run. You don't want allow 5 to 10 years pass and you need to pay someone quite a bit of money just to clean up your accounting software. So take the time, pay someone. If you already are using accounting software, go ahead and use this checklist and say, okay, you know what? Do we have these things? Do we have these things recorded in our accounting software? Or, do we have the reports, the bank statements and all of that? You can now attach those to most accounting software. So just do an overall review. Make sure you have everything in order. Once again, this all goes back to tax season. If you have your accounting software set up correctly, you're able to pull reports, and those reports will help you file your taxes. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have more mini lessons on business matters. Take care.